of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I will officially call this meeting to order, and a huge warm hello to all those that are viewing us tonight, and we're going to get started. Clerk, would you please proceed with the roll call?
Councilmember Archibald? Here. Councilmember Haremza?
Here.
Councilmember Lamb?
Here.
Councilmember Payton?
Here.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Here.
Mayor Ashford?
Present. Okay, the minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilmember Pemberton and second by Councilmember Lamb. Is there any discussion, any changes or anything? Okay, hearing none. Clerk, would you please take the roll? Oh, as submitted. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I got all the ayes?
Yep.
Okay. I just want to make sure I had the ears. Okay, number E, presentations. Under presentations, unfortunately, the young lady that we were going to give a proclamation to tonight, she came down with the flu, and she wanted to be here in the worst way, but, her mom and I told, your health is very important, and she certainly had enough respect to say, that I won't go and be among, all of us, so you don't never know what's going around. So, but we are going to proceed, as though she was here in spirit. So, we have a little short video, and you may have a hard time hearing it, but you will still get the essence of what this is all about. So just watch up here.
My name is Julia Jablonski. I'm 18 years old, and I'm attending the University of Michigan.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, my name is Julia.
Hi, Julia.
My mom always motivated me to not only work hard, but also make a difference in the community. 3 things I'm really passionate about are empowering women in aviation, making sure people are educated as a vaccine ambassador, and spreading joy by bringing seniors flowers. So we have this. Does that look pretty?
My favorite color. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, here you go.
Oh, thank you so much.
When my grandparents died, I started a nonprofit organization called Blooming Pals to honor those relationships.
And that's my
I believe that seniors know the best life stories.
Really? We bought me yellow roses.
And they definitely give you the best advice.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. Repeat that.
Would you like to pick out a vase?
I would love to.
A vase of flowers reminds them that someone cares for them, and I think that's really special.
Thank you. Why don't we give her a round of applause? She's watching on TV. And how warm can you get? I mean, some of you may have children out there, doing something like this, taking time out for seniors. And she thought of this on her own, as inspired by the death of her grandmother. And it's just precious when we can take time out and, bring up our kids, train them in the right way they should be going, and giving back, to the community in which she is doing. I will now read the proclamation. It says, whereas on November the 14th, 2024, Julia Jablonski received the State of Michigan's Youth Volunteer of the Year Award from Governor Gretchen Whitmer. And whereas for many years, Julia has been an exemplary youth in our community, Julia founded the nonprofit Blooming Pals, which brings flowers to the elderly in the nursing homes, senior complexes, and the shed-ins. And whereas Julia is a graduate of Port Huron Northern High School and is currently a freshman at Michigan State University. And whereas Julia has positively represented the Blue Water area and has been a recipient of numerous awards, including the 2024 Teen Alzheimer's Awareness Award that she received from the Alzheimer's Foundation of America. And whereas Julia is an admirable young person who has passion, drive, and deep optimism for what's possible, and whereas we commend Julia for her achievements and congratulate her on receiving the 2024 Michigan Youth Volunteer Award. Now therefore, I, Anita R. Ashford, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Port Huron, and on behalf of Councilmember Archibald, Horenza, Lamb, Payton, and Pemberton, do hereby issue this certificate of recognition to Julia Jablowski. In recognition of receiving this award and the many other important contributions she has made to our community, in witness whereof, I do hereby set my hand and cause the corporate seal of the city of Port Huron to be affixed this 25th day of November 2024. Let's give a rousing round of applause. And I'd like to say a word. I want to also, when we get awards like this, especially on behalf of our children, you know, they just didn't get here. Some other vital parts had to be there. Her parents, and her parents are certainly a testament of what her accomplishments have been. So thank you so very much. Now we will move on from here to our public comments. And this is the time, if anyone in the audience wish to address the City Council on any agenda items or any matter under the city's jurisdiction, now is the time to do so. You are allotted 1 4-minute opportunity to make your comments. Please begin your comments by stating your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Good evening. Ken Harris, past council member, mayor, city manager. I'd just like to remind you a few things that are happening here in the city of Port Huron in the next few weeks that it concerns everybody in the city of Port Huron. As we know, we have a distinct kind of a question mark going on to who succeeds the seat on the city council here. That decision is probably going to be made in the next 2 weeks. And again, it's kind of like jumping in the fire or the frying pan into the fire. I think it would be a good advantage to don't just consider the city charter. City charter is documented as what it is. There seems to be enough flaws in there that it makes it correct. If I'm incorrect, it would be in there. In the city charter, it basically says that the person to fill a vacant seat has to get at least 25% in the last election. So the fact is, nobody that was elected to city council this time got 25% of the thing. So there's a conflict I mean, there's 2 written languages, but there's a conflict to settle both of them. The second thing I would really like to talk about, and I'm going to have to keep visiting until we kick it down the road and do something with it, is the Roach Bar. You know, I looked at the police report, and I looked at and heard some of the comments from the Attorney General's office, and I think what we really got to look at, we have 1 dead person from a homicide, and we have 4 people, directly or indirectly, who contributed to the death of that young man. And until that is rested here in the city of Port Huron, I'll be here as many times as it takes. Lastly, the last council meeting here, one of the residents of our area, the Harrison Point area, brought up some issues with condition. And you know, recently we got some new streets over there that made the neighborhood a little bit nicer, but we're still having a problem with the neighborhood in general. Vehicles that are parked in alleys for months at a time, alleys that haven't been kept up, even though the planning commission said that's all been taken care of. Well, it hasn't. And the other issue is pests. I know we have a dog patrol and stuff like that, but the Harrison neighborhood that I'm living in, the problem right now is skunks. And they are bad. My neighbors next door have got attacked by them and sprayed. And I don't know if we have ordinances on that or not, but I think it's something that we should consider, at least if we could help the people who have to put up with these things. So put on your hats, your hard hats, and do the right thing. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ken.
Eileen Tesh, 145 Algonac, 145 Channel Side in Algonac, and I just want to thank you. The invocation is a nice addition. I wanted to talk first of all about the U.S. Supreme Court. I did send you an email today, Mayor Ashford, regarding the fact that you cut off a citizen during their public comments. I know you probably just got caught up in the swearing in. It was a beautiful event, but It's clear the First Amendment protections for public comment at government meetings. When government bodies establish public comments, period, they must adhere to fundamental First Amendment principles. They cannot shut down or silence speakers simply because they offer a disfavored viewpoint or criticize government officials. And we know what happened the last time with the lawsuit. So on that note, Mayor Ashford, you ran on transparency and accountability. And more importantly, you all have a duty to serve the public and do the right thing. And why do the citizens of Port Huron have to find out that City Manager James Freed is looking for a new job? And don't you think that the public has a right to know if he wants to leave, if he's looking for a new job? And maybe you weren't worried that if he took the job, because you have a great replacement in Nancy Wisner. But be that as it may, let's talk about transparency and accountability. In this $40,000 high-gloss brochure, Positively Port Huron, that was sent out right before election, but we won't talk about the propaganda in that. Live from Port Huron, Thumb Coast TV to broadcast on cable TV. And it specifically states, the City of Port Huron is signing a contract with Comcast to acquire the cable channel. The city is then leasing that space to Bullier from EBW, Bullier's company, to provide content. Okay, so I FOIA'd the information regarding any and all documents, including but not limited to emails, receipts, contracts, leases, and public and communications between the City of Port Huron and Comcast Cable, also known as Xfinity, to acquire a cable channel, and the lease between Larry Bullier and his wife Leslie Bullier, owners and operators of Blue Water Television Network. The request was granted in part. However, some of the items in this request have to be redacted for the following reasons. It says, the information, according to section 15.243, the information of a personal nature, if public disclosure of the information would constitute a clearly unwarranted invasion of an individual's privacy. Well, what privacy? When we're dealing with the city and the contract, I didn't receive any financials, I didn't receive any contract. So before I go to file a judicial review, I would ask that you take another look at this FOIA and see what the problem is. And like I said, the people have a right to know what's going on, and hopefully things are going to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tesh. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward?
Tammy Jones, I live at 931 Minnie Street. I sent an email to Mr. Freed earlier with a statement for tonight because I was able to get back in town from my husband having a procedure down in the city, but so I'm not sure if you guys want me to read this or if it's been distributed to everybody. I don't know how you guys want
I believe. Did everybody receive a copy? Okay,
We have a
you can
copy.
you receive a copy?
Yeah.
Okay, Terry, you receive a copy? Okay, you can
So
just.
I didn't know if I needed to.
Yeah. No,
Make
you're
my
still,
comment,
you're
except
still
for the
more
second.
than welcome to speak to
I mean, I
it.
don't have to read the whole thing. I mean, I can just say that I object for many of the reasons that I put in the thing. I don't, I'm pretty sure I know what's gonna happen with it, but I have a lot of concerns, and like I said, I kind of feel like maybe us people that live in the area where the pot shop is going to go, for people in the audience that wonder what I'm rambling about, at 1814 10th Street, I think that, maybe we should have been given an opportunity to have some answers before this all came to, yes, it's just gonna get approved. Maybe, we could have been informed about a little bit of this stuff beforehand and some of our concerns addressed before it goes in, because I'm not happy about it. I don't want it in my backyard. I've seen their site plans online and, some of them saying, existing fence is going to stay, this existing fence is going to stay, and yeah, because part of it is my fence, it's on my property, so they're not going to take it But, you know, I just have concerns about a lot of that kind of stuff going up with it, besides the fact of a marijuana shop in my backyard that I'm not happy about. So if you guys could at least, I don't know if everyone had a chance to read it or look over it, but if everyone could and just kind of understand where we're coming from. I'm not trying to, I know before I was probably a little bit more irritated, but I was just trying to express my concerns and, you know, some answers that I would like. If anyone could give them to me at any time, that would be great. You know, I kind of feel like maybe we should have been able to have a meeting where we could have had some questions answered instead of just being up here stating what we don't like and not being able to ask questions. So I guess that's my part. You guys have the statement that I sent, and like I said, I just wanted to, since I managed to get in town in time, I just wanted to come up and make sure that everyone had it and knew where I stood on it.
We appreciate that. Okay. How's your husband doing?
Okay,
Oh, okay.
it works.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Is there anyone else like to come before?
Curtis Carl, Port Huron Township. I wonder if we could look at the start time of the meetings. I know we changed that under the previous mayor. People are fighting to get here on time. It's hard. I know a young man just arrived, and I'd like to see him make the meeting at all costs, but fighting traffic and stuff, getting here at 6 o'clock is brutal when you're traveling any distance. Not everybody's so fortunate to work in town. Wondering about the pocket park. That's a marathon, ongoing. We're creeping up on a couple years on that. I don't know if somebody vandalized it already or what, but broke one of the pieces of glass. It was broken for quite some time, and then you guys finally put a piece of wood up there to, I don't know, make it a little safer, I guess. Hand railings still missing. Wasn't done for boat week or anything this summer. Kind of sad. Not even sure if was this something that you needed to disperse some grant money on, or what is that? Why we just dump some money into that and it's just an ongoing renovation? I don't know. Maybe we'll see it done this year. No, I want to see you guys move forward and do the right thing with the city council, the open seat there. I'm hoping that Brian speaks on that here in a little bit tonight. And then the Roach Bar, let's start doing something. You guys dragging your feet. We got some new people up here. Maybe you guys can help get the ball rolling. You know, call the governor. You're the mayor of Port Huron. You got to be somebody, right? I would think your voice is just as important as mine. I encourage you to do so. I think there was something I was forgetting, but I'll be sure to be back in 2 weeks to see you guys again.
Okay. Thank you so much.
My name is Tyler Meekank. I am a resident of Port Huron Township. The first thing I want to say is that I heard that someone was expelled. Apparently last week, Miss Tesh, I believe, brought it up. My view is that there needs to be some level of decorum, and so while I value free speech rights, I also think that if somebody is breaking rules of decorum, that in some ways they should not be allowed to speak, because I think there needs to be some level of respect when you're talking to people that needs to be preserved. I just recently got off of the Fort Gratiot Township meeting. I think it was I forget, maybe it was last Wednesday, maybe it was. I don't remember the exact date, but somewhere along those lines. So I just think that, and given that meeting was so, I felt disrespectful, and there was a lot of screaming and yelling at the Board of Trustees. I feel like there needs to be more, people need to speak respectfully to people who are council members, mayors, or in this case, boards of trustees. And I feel like if you can't be respectful when you talk to people, that you shouldn't be allowed to speak, I feel like, and that may seem extreme to say, but I feel there needs to be more respect in government, people need to be talked to respectfully. And I feel like sometimes to encourage that, we need to take away someone's speech if it's threatening or if it is in any way disrespectful to people who serve in local government. So just thought I'd throw those 2 cents in.
Thank you very much, Tyler. Is there anyone else wishing to come before the Port Huron City Council? Okay.
Brian Farquhar, 19th Avenue, City of Port Huron. Well, thank you, Mr. Freed, for working with me a little bit today, and we'll see where we can go. And that we'll just publicly out that between Mr. Freed and Mr. Schaudi's office. Hopefully we got some deal that'll clean up what might hold me from getting a seat in the long run. So thank you. This marijuana deal that's on the thing tonight, I know some council have said like this is one of the big things in the ordinance that they'd want to change. I understand by reading some memos and the rest of it, our hands are pretty tied on it. This is a good learning lesson for the public and everybody, and I know Mr. Freed has said this also, but it's a good lesson for all of you and even Mr. Freed, because unfortunately in 2009, when all this started, with the medical marijuana in the state of Michigan and leading down the ball rolling of this is where we're going to end up. And we know that the ball was rolling this way because we had prior states like California. And there was other states where this happened. And we can't say that this didn't happen in a community similar elsewhere. So if we would have did our due diligence back in 2009, 2010, 2011, you know, when we saw this stuff coming, we could have been prepared and better prepared for what actually happened, because in my opinion as a resident and as a supporter of recreational marijuana, what happened is we voted at a state level to open these shops at a certain time. The city of Port Huron unfortunately said no, the day that the state allows you guys to open the shops, we don't have language in and we don't want them in yet. So there was a stop because we don't have a way to let them in under our language. And now we forced the citizens to come out and vote for this, and then it might have been a bad deal, a good deal. Play will come as it seems, but it's a good learning lesson to start watching what other states are doing, other communities are doing, other things are doing on a national level, because it firmly impacts us. And I do believe that these shops should be in industrial zones and outside of street corners and in our general, you know, population. And you can go to a lot of communities where it works very well. And the place that's asking for a license tonight, they do it very well in some communities. I think my personal opinion is it's a little flashy with a lot of their lights they have hanging from stuff, and that's a genuine concern from some of the neighborhoods. But that's their play. They don't do anything illegal. They don't do anything else. And it's not them personally is why I say don't let it come here. What I say, the reason of why we shouldn't let it come here is because of the exact location of it. But we shouldn't have one in the old Pizza Hut that our kids drive by every day. The jars downtown, I kind of understand to an extent. It's not quite as gaudy as far as the signage and the rest of it. It's hidden. I can take my 11-year-old daughter down there that can read quite well, and we can go into bootleggers, we can go into the vintage, we can go into the ice cream shop there, and she doesn't know that there's a marijuana shop right there on the corner. But she knows that there's one in the old Pizza Hut. She's going to know that there's one down there in the old bank. You know, when the time comes, let's fix this, because right now our hands are tied, and I understand that, but that's unfortunate for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else?
I forgot to say something.
We have someone else coming to the podium. No, come to the podium.
Holden Gothier, 11th Avenue.
That's what I thought.
The council.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I previously spoke with concern that Mr. Freed was discouraging local political participation, and tonight I brought you your confirmation. James sent an email on July 15th concerned with the political actions of a local resident, citing potential Hatch Act concerns. And for context, the Hatch Act is a federal law designed to limit certain political activities of federal employees, as well as some state and local government employees. It's a serious matter that should be addressed appropriately and through the proper channels. The individual targeted by these actions, whom I'll just refer to as Jane, is an MDOT employee, a resident of Port Huron, and a city stakeholder. Jane has an exemplary professional record with years of outstanding performance reviews and a strong commitment to her community. Her expertise and dedication is critical to the success of the Blue Water Bridge Plaza expansion. Outside of her professional responsibilities, Jane has every legal right to participate in local elections, provided she adheres to the restrictions outlined in the Hatch Act. In her personal time, and clearly separate from her employment, Jane chose to support a council candidate by collecting signatures for their nominating petitions. While I understand Mr. Freed's interest in ensuring compliance with the Hatch Act, his approach to addressing his concerns was inappropriate and rash. Complaints of potential violation should be submitted to the U.S. Office of Special Counsel for proper review. Instead, Mr. Freed bypassed this process entirely and contacted Jane's employer directly. Mr. Freed requested that Jane be, quote, reassigned from working with the city. Attempts to have her reassigned risk destabilizing an already delayed infrastructure project. Replacing her with someone unfamiliar with the project and this community would cause further setbacks, jeopardizing progress here. Was the council aware of the potential impact of Mr. Freed's email before it was sent? Leaders like Mr. Freed must be able to separate personal feelings from professional responsibilities. James claims that this situation created a hostile relationship or awkward meetings, and that suggests he's not able to do that and separate those feelings. In his communication, Mr. Freed criticized Jane's decorum and ethics without providing any concrete evidence to support these claims. Escalating the matter directly to her employer bypasses the proper channels and appears retaliatory and unnecessarily harmful to a dedicated professional. James' actions demonstrate a clear disregard for professional boundaries and due process. It's evident there was no substantial Hatch Act violation. Yet, instead of addressing the concern through federal channels, James contacted the director of MDOT, the person 4 levels above Jane in the organizational hierarchy. The only person higher on the MDOT totem pole is the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer. This wasn't about ensuring compliance, it was about retaliation. These actions not only risk the progress of vital infrastructure projects, but also erode trust in leadership. A chilling message has been sent to residents that engaging in local democracy might come at the cost of professional retaliation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing? And also, all your explanation, you only allowed one time to come up. Okay. No, that's no problem. I had to be reminded also.
Mark Sanderson, Fort Gratiot. I just got a couple questions about agenda item tonight as far as the body cams. And the reason why I'm asking this is I actually put in a FOIA a couple weeks ago, wanting to know about Chelsea's body cam and like how you guys, who maintains them right now and all that. And as far as how you guys log them, and I know they probably all have individual serial numbers. Mm-hmm. And I also want to know if her body cam was working up till the point where she arrived at the Roach. Okay. And like what time her shift started and all that. And like how you guys log all your cameras on. Reason why I ask that, like I use specialty stuff at my work as well. Like when I'm on a fire call, our machines, we have to log them daily. We have to calibrate them daily. And I was just wondering if you guys do the same as far as with your body cam, because that's a pretty important tool that your officers wear. And anyways, I got back, I didn't get much back from the FOIA, not as much as I was hoping. I just got your policy. And then they had some of the officers' names on here, but nothing as far as how you guys log it, who maintains it, stuff like that. And I just don't know why I couldn't get that in the FOIA. Like I said, I'm not here to stir trouble. I'm here to get to the bottom of this with my nephew's death. And I would just I just want answers like why some of this can't be answered for me. Okay. Who maintains your cameras right now? As I see in line 6 here, your Axon Enterprises, the purchase of 1.6 million for in-car and body-worn cameras was, as far as the 10-year service agreement to maintain the cameras. Like, who maintains them right now?
Okay, we usually don't go back and forth, but are you prepared to?
Is that something you're gonna discuss tonight, who maintains?
It is something
Yeah,
we're gonna
he's gonna
discuss tonight.
discuss that,
We're
yeah.
just gonna something tonight. Mark,
Are you gonna discuss as far as how you guys log them and?
yeah, can I give this to you, Mark? Real
Yeah,
quick.
he has this for you.
So, Mark, so a lot of people ask what happened to the body camera that night, and your family deserves answers. And so I want to give this to you. When the body camera didn't work that night, we didn't just look at it in-house. We sent it out for forensic diagnostic review and inspection. I have a copy of what happened there, of why it failed. We'll give you a copy of this. You're more than welcome to meet with me and the chief of police to go over this report. But in full transparency, I want you to have it. And then I'm going to talk about tonight why we're replacing those body cameras.
So this is from a third party though, this is not from you guys?
This is from G-Tech, the people who manufacture and sold us the body cameras. This is a diagnostic review of what happened to Chelsea's camera that night. Okay?
Appreciate it.
I just want you to have that, and I just, we tried to release this earlier, and I believe we did, it was just commingled with thousands of other pages, but I know you've asked about it, and you deserve an answer, so the diagnostic report is in there, and I will take your questions, they can meet with you on it.
All right, thank you. That's
Yes, Mark, yeah, and I did check that, so that's all on the up. Okay. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to come before the Port Huron City Council tonight? Okay, hearing and seeing none, I will declare public audience, this thing is loud, over. Okay. Now we will go to the consent agenda. Is there a motion? So moved.
Support. I'd like to address the two things before as well.
I beg your pardon?
The two things we're going to address real quick.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
sorry about that.
got
I just want to
ahead of
address two things
myself.
tonight, Madam Mayor
I
and
was so
Council.
pleased about Mark finally getting that in his hands, okay.
So, first thing, one of the public speakers talked about the TV station that we are allegedly signing lease. I believe the rumored we were going to spend $1 million on a TV station. The fact is, for I believe 35, 45, even years longer than that, the city of Port Huron has maintained a public access channel, Channel 6, through what's called a franchise agreement with Comcast. So because they work in our road right-of-ways, we have a franchise agreement, they allow us what's called a PEG channel. The PEG channel is currently analogged, which means it takes up this much space. They're going to digitalize that channel, which will take up this much space, which makes a room for a 0.1 or a 0.2 channel. Some communities have not only an educational channel, but what's called an promotion and tourism channel. So if you go to a hotel in a different city, they have a local channel promoting restaurants and stores downtown. We are working with Thumbcoast TV at no cost to the city of Port Huron, partnering with the CVB to do a promotional and economic development channel. On a PEG channel, we already have. So there's no cost to the taxpayers. We haven't bought a TV studio. We haven't paid these guys thousands of dollars. It's what they already do. It'll just be broadcast on our already owned PEG channel, which will be digitalized to a smaller channel. The second part to the letter that I wrote to MDOT, that letter was sent to all the council members after discussion with the council members. It was reviewed with our city attorney, and it was sent to the director of MDOT. I will release a copy of that if anyone who wants it. I stand by that letter and the contents of that letter and the legality of that letter. It was not a retaliation. It was not asking for someone to be fired. We were in the midst of a very comprehensive negotiation with MDOT in the city of Port Huron regarding the Scotts Avenue neighborhood, the 10th Ave neighborhood, and the infrastructure redevelopment that would happen there. We need good negotiators at the table that we can have candid discussions with. A change was made. We now have a negotiation that's been settled. And at the next council meeting, the council will have an agreement with MDOT based on the terms of those negotiations. So I stand by my letter. I stand by my reason for writing it, and we'll release it publicly to anybody who wants it.
Okay. Is that all?
That's it.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, yeah, who moved that? Sherry, did you move that? Okay, it was moved by Sherry and second by Councilmember Pemberton. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, you may call the roll.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. And on the consent agenda, under resolutions, J, approving the amendment to the sub-recipient agreement with St. Clair County for an increase in our ARPA funding awarded in the amount of $9,576.20 for the purchase of 6 portable prep radios and accessories for use by the police department for the total amount of $35,158.05. The second resolution is accepting a community technical managerial and financial support for lead service line replacement grant being funded by the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, short for EGLE, for the purpose of a water service line inventory investigation. And that is going to be funded by grant funding. Okay. Next, go back to our, from the city manager? No, the unfinished business, right, okay.
Discussion on the special use permit request from MS Industries LLC to allow marijuana retail at 1814 10th Street. Following discussion, council shall make a determination to either deny the request or to grant the request for the special use permit.
Okay, thank you, and I believe you will be addressing this?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yep, and happy early Thanksgiving to Mayor and Council. For anyone new here, my name's Al Francis. I work in the City Attorney's Office. I'm here, I think we're on the third or maybe the fourth time this issue's been up, totally, whether it's in front of Planning Commission or the City Council. So by way of background, was alluded to earlier, there was a petition several years ago in the city of Port Huron that authorized marijuana establishments. For purposes of today, we're talking about retail establishments. The ordinance that was created by petition was litigated over a couple of years. That litigation delayed any retail stores from opening. That ended maybe 18 months ago or so. In fact, we just confirmed maybe a month or a half ago that there's been no request to appeal the Court of Appeals determination that the ordinance was valid. So the ordinance is valid, and that's where we are. Under the ordinance, retail uses are what's called special land uses. They have to go through Planning Commission. The way that our ordinance is written, and this is not particular for marijuana retailers, but it's for all special land uses. The way the ordinance is written is there's a public hearing with Planning Commission. Planning Commission can approve the request. If they deny the request, which is what happened here, it becomes a recommendation to City Council. Comes before City Council, which it's already done at least one time. City Council, my understanding, made the determination which is allowed to do under the ordinance to have a second public hearing. I'll receive more public comment from the city residents. So a decision hasn't been made by council on whether it is either going to affirm the Planning Commission's recommendation to deny the special land use request, or whether it's going to grant the special land use request. That's the issue before City Council today. I say this a bit when I'm up here. It seems to me that usually when I'm here, I have to read very specific things, and I hate to read, but I'm going to read because I think it's important that City Council understands what has to be considered in these requests. It's important because if anyone appeals the request, these are the standards that the circuit court's going to apply in looking at this. So there are 8 items that, and it's the same standards the Planning Commission was to consider, but there are eight items. The first one is whether the proposed special land use, whether it complies with all requirements from the zoning ordinance. So that's things such as, does it meet the setback requirements? Is it far enough from a church? Is it far enough from a public park? That's the first request. The second standard is that the use in any proposed structures to be utilized in connection therewith will not create any threat to the public health, safety, and welfare, and will not unduly aggravate any traffic problem in the area. The third is that the proposed use will not be injurious to the surrounding neighborhood. The fourth is that the proposed use will not be contrary to the spirit and purpose of the zoning ordinance. The fifth use is that the fifth factor is that all proposed structures, equipment, or materials shall be readily accessible for fire and police protection. The sixth element is that the proposed use shall not cause traffic congestion or movement out of proportion to that normally prevailing in the particular district. The seventh is that the proposed use shall provide sufficient space for the off-street parking of all vehicles attracted by its presence and shall abide by the regulations set forth regarding parking within the zoning ordinance. And the eighth element is that any proposed buildings shall not be out of harmony with the predominant type of building in the particular district. Those are the 8 factors that the Planning Commission was to consider and that this body's to consider when it makes the determination to affirm the recommendation or to grant the special use request. So it's important to understand what it means when we're looking at these 8 factors. I'm going to use a little bit of legal speak, but that's because sometimes there's not 100% answers to this. So I'm going to tell you the standard that courts apply when they're reviewing these things. And that is whatever decision this body makes, whatever it is, up, down, it has to be supported by what's referred to as competent material and substantial evidence on the record. So what courts have said regarding that is it would have to be sufficient evidence that a reasoning mind would accept as sufficient to support a conclusion. Another court has said it's more than a scintilla of evidence, but it's also not quite to a preponderance of the evidence. The important aspect for me is it has to be evidence on the record. That means evidence that's been presented to City Council, that City Council has considered and relied upon. Generally, that is based on something further than speculation, I would say. So that's what this job is of council. That's the standard that's going to apply. The one thing I would ask, and I think the applicant would ask as an attorney, is whatever decision this body makes, is that we know why the decision was made that way. If it's reviewed by a court and we don't have an idea as to, for example, which of these 8 factors, how the council was swayed, I've been in situations where we'll be back here in 6 months for you to tell us why you made the decision, and we have to go through the process again. So again, if there's a vote, and there should be a vote tonight, if there's a vote, we need to understand why the vote went one way, and what evidence was relied upon in the vote. So I'll be happy to answer any questions. I'll be happy to read any of those factors. But again, it's competent material and substantial evidence on the record, and we need to know the reasoning for the decision.
Are there any questions of Mr. Francis at this point?
Is it possible to find a new location for it instead of in a residential area?
Well, I'll say that it's zone C1, I believe. So it may be adjacent to a residential area, but the zoning is proper under the zoning ordinance. So the answer is yes and no. We can't require it be put into a different area because it does meet the zoning classification requirements. The way the ordinance is written was, at the time, the planning, in 2018 maybe when it was adopted, the planning commission, the desire was to not have these lumped in together. So there's quotas based on north of the river, central business district, south of the river. They were not allowed in residential zones, but they were in C1. So the applicant could certainly come forth and say, hey, I found a different location. They would have to go through the same process and essentially start over to seek special land use for that location. But it does meet the location requirements of the zoning.
So they're not concerned about any congestion with traffic like there is with JARS?
That would be a question whether traffic congestion is a concern. I believe that was a concern raised with planning and a concern that residents raised here. Whether they are concerned, meaning the applicant, that's a question for them.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any more questions? Yeah, Mr. Francis, just piggybacking off of Councilmember Payton, in the letters that we got, and I read each one of them and kind of, got a running theme here. They pointed out 4 things that they were really objecting to is the long hours, and does that fall under anything of a requirement, the long hours that they're open and stuff?
I mean, I suppose to the extent that that's related to traffic, but again, the hours are set by our ordinance.
Okay, so they are within their legal rights, okay. And on the second one, she mentioned the traffic and all that commotion, so that's also covered?
Traffic is an unreasonable amount of traffic congestion. So if I look at the traffic, there's 2 that touch on traffic. One element is the use and any proposed use to be utilized in connection therewith will not create any threat to the public health, safety, and welfare, and will not unduly aggravate any traffic problem in the area. That's one. And then the other is the proposed use shall not cause traffic congestion or movement out of proportion to that normally prevailing in the particular district. So what I'm not aware of is whether we have traffic studies suggesting the increase in traffic. I don't know that, but traffic is a factor to be considered.
Oh, okay. Then also number 3, that's a running theme is they mention about floods occurring over in that area. That comes under floods, yes, safety and health. I think that.
I don't know how this use would increase or decrease flooding in the area. I don't know the answer to that, or if that's been discussed.
I didn't either. I mean, this is just people talking to us, so I just want you to know.
So it has to be with respect to this use and this use's impact on the area. If there's flooding over there, I don't know one way.
Oh, okay. Okay, no problem. I understand that. Okay. And also, okay, in the zoning, we already hit rectified that through the planning commission, so it was properly zoned, and so that's intact.
My understanding is that the city's building department and planning department confirmed that it met both the quotas for numbers north and south of the river, setbacks, distances from parks, schools, churches, all which are covered in the ordinance. It does satisfy those, is my understanding.
Okay, thank you. I just think it's very important that we did this, so when you send something to us, we do read these and we go through them, and people deserve an answer. So that's what I went through under here. But Mr. Francis, the big question for me is that is the city under any obligation or anything to pass this? I mean, are there any implications if we don't do this to our residents of the city?
Well, in my opinion, you have an obligation to give the applicant an answer, because frankly, they've been waiting for a long time.
Right.
The applicant, depending upon the answer, will take steps necessary. They may appeal the decision to the courts. That would be the remedy that would occur if it was denied.
Oh, okay.
As far as the residents, I mean, this is a lawful zone use in a lawful zoning district within the city. I don't see any situation where there's a liability with respect to the city and the residents if it were approved.
Okay. So if we were to deny this, then we still stand in harm's way of being possibly sued or anything like that? Or you can't answer
I never
anything?
say never with respect to the city.
Okay.
The applicant has been pursuing this location and this license for a significant amount of time. I've had communications with counsel for the applicant. This is the first time I've been here on this one, but I've had communications with counsel for the applicant outside of here. They have attempted, at least with respect to me, and I think with providing additional information to this council, to address some of the concerns that were raised both at the Planning Commission hearing and the City Council meeting or hearing last time. I guess what I'm saying is they're still pursuing this location. It would be my assumption they're going to continue to do that, regardless of the decision.
Mayor Ashford, you made a comment about parking. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Is there sufficient parking there? Or?
Yeah, so my understanding is that the planning department confirmed that this location and use satisfied the zoning ordinance's parking requirements for the area. It's parking based on the zoning requirements.
Off-street?
It's, let's see, if that's required in the area. Yes, off-street, yes.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Huron?
On the traffic portion again, there's no way to prove, to prove that in advance of it being built, right? You would then have to do a study afterwards to show that it affected traffic. I mean, how does that work?
I think, well, there may be some truth to that statement. There are ways, though, we have several other facilities in the city, and there are facilities located throughout the state. Had this been the first facility in the state, I would say maybe it's impossible to determine what happened with the traffic.
But there's no threshold number or something that puts them out of compliance, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Madam Mayor.
Yes,
Just
City Manager Free.
Yeah, just, so point of clarity, I'd like to know what is your formal recommendation for the council to do tonight in regards to this matter based on your legal opinion? And also, I want to say at the same time, I don't want to put our legal counsel in a precarious position where he has to represent us for any future litigation or appeal as well. So there's certain things we probably won't engage in tonight, but go ahead with that.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. We understand the conflict of resident.
So I obviously don't get a vote. That's what, you're really the second level of appeal in this situation because this has already been to the Planning Commission. What I can say is that the city has an involved, Mr. Haynes and his department is an involved staff, right? They reviewed this request significantly in the planning. My understanding is the planning department's recommendation to the Planning Commission was to approve this request.
Mayor Ashford.
Yes, Councilmember Pemberton.
Just to kind of piggyback off that comment, I appreciate that. I understand that no one likes this. From my view, no one wants the weed shop in their backyard. Everyone understands it, and Ms. Jones, I completely understand that. The problem is that our residents multiple times over voted overwhelmingly for the zoning as we currently have it. Much to our own chagrin, we worked hard on developing a zoning plan where this sort of thing wouldn't happen. And unfortunately, I believe we have a responsibility. It's been said multiple times throughout the night that our hands are tied. The recommendation of the planning office to the Planning Commission was to pass it because it does comply with the law. And whether we like the law or not, it is our responsibility to uphold it, even if it's not popular with the folks who vote us into office, unfortunately. And that's the unfortunate reality. It was my belief we should have passed this when it was before council the last time, and we didn't because of the same reason the Planning Commission didn't, because it's not the popular thing to do. It doesn't feel good to vote yes for things you legally have to vote yes for by the letter of the law. We can't change the zoning because the zoning that was passed by the residents via the vote prevents us from doing so. So it has a set time period that we are not allowed to adjust it to be more applicable to what we would have desired to see in our community based on the feedback we got from our residents who voted us into office. So I don't think it's any more right to the business owners that have patiently been working through this process for multiple years and the mess that it's been to put them through. We've already held them up another meeting that, again, in my view, we shouldn't have had to do for them. To put them through another court hearing just to come back, it doesn't seem like the right thing to do to me. And I think we all know the end result would be they would come back and we would be forced to vote yes by the court. So for that reason, I'll be voting yes tonight, and I am just as sorry to all the neighbors in the area. I get it. I wouldn't want it either. And that's why we tried to do what we tried to do, but it is what it is. So thank you for your counsel, Mr. Francis. Appreciate it.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes, Council.
I'd like to piggyback on that just a little bit. One, just to clarify and somewhat correct a comment that was made during public comment in that we did pass an ordinance. we did do our diligence, and we did what we needed to do, and the voters, not understanding what we did, not at any fault of their own, voted for something that overrode what we did. So repeatedly, we keep hearing, we had a chance to do this before somebody else did, and that is absolutely not true. We passed an ordinance. We spent a year and a half working on this to make sure it wouldn't be in your neighborhood, it wouldn't be in your backyard, it wouldn't be next to a child care. We did everything possible, knowing the residents of Port Huron wanted to have dispensaries, but also to protect that they weren't all close together, they weren't all downtown, they weren't in your neighborhood. We did that, and it got overruled by the residents voting when it went on a ballot. Most likely, and I'm pretty sure 100% of that was, people just didn't know that it was there, right? It wasn't that you just like this idea better. It was simply the residents didn't realize that that wasn't our ordinance. It was someone else's coming in and taking control. So we are faced in a situation tonight to say yes, the legal right thing to do, or to say no, and no, we're probably going to be sued. Either way, whatever we do is not going to sit well with a lot of people. But I feel very strongly in making sure the residents understand we are in this position not because we didn't do our due diligence and we didn't do our job. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem? Any more comments?
I guess just a comment.
I'm sorry, it's the comment time, you can't, it's just the council, okay? I'm sorry. But you can tell me afterwards, so.
There was a comment made on there's so many years before that ordinance could be, do we know how many years that is?
Yeah, it frankly doesn't matter with respect to this request because
Exactly,
it
yeah.
was under the old ordinance. So we'll work with administration on changing, but this request, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, this license was granted under the original 2018 batch of applications that came in as written at that time. So that's what they're subject to.
Okay, well, hearing none, I guess to sum it up, I guess we're here to deny or to approve. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mayor.
Okay. And then to Councilmember Pemberton's statement, we, and also the Mayor Pro Tem, we did do our due diligence. That's why it's taking so long, and we're putting it up. We're stalling for the inevitable, and if we did go back, we would be coming back to the same place again, and you'll be doing it again. And sometimes it's not always going to be privy to us to try to do what, the feelings, but you got to go on the facts of what is before us. And no, not in NIMBY, not in my backyard, and I do, because we're not here to tear up neighborhoods, we're here to build them up.
Mm-hmm.
But I know we're living in some changing times, but I'm glad that this council did, if you want to call it stalling, we stall because of the love that we have for what we do in the citizens, and to make sure that we exhausted everything that we could. And you went through the 8 points there, and and it's legal. It's legal. Excuse me, ma'am, we don't talk out, but that's okay. But anyway, so I just want to say that I'm ready to receive a motion.
Motion to grant the special use permit.
Okay, it's been moved and properly noted. Is there a second?
I second.
Oh, second by Councilmember Huron. Okay, we'll call for the vote.
Councilmember Huron.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb.
Yes.
Councilmember Payton.
No.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald.
No.
Mayor Ashford.
No.
It's a tie.
Oh, it's a tie. I didn't read where we do a tie. Okay, this, you still have to say.
Mayor, and I apologize for interrupting, just so you're aware, the person who has stood up twice is a representative of the applicant who attended the meeting. I just wanted to make sure council was aware of that.
Oh, okay. Well, we're still here to be consistent, so,
I understood.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
As Mayor Ashford,
Yes.
old habits die hard.
That's right.
Could we hear from the business owner?
Sure, if it's your
Please.
pleasure, I just want to make sure that we're in line with.
Madam Mayor, just for point of clarity, a tie vote is a vote that has failed, correct?
Correct.
So the motion fails.
Yeah, the motion fails, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I should have said that.
Oh,
Yeah,
well
the
then-
motion fails, everybody, simply because we had a tie.
And
We should ask for clarity one more time. Mr. Francis, for the rules of order, how would we proceed? Can we entertain a second motion, or does the motion fail, or needs to come back another
Well,
meeting?
Candidly, I think we should have the opposite motion now, and I would like some reasoning for the record, if the motion is to deny the use, deny the special land use, to have some basis for that motion as part of the discussion at least. In using these 8 factors that we talked about.
So you're recommending to the council that they make a motion to deny, and then during discussions, give their reasoning?
Correct.
Okay.
Focusing hopefully on the 8 factors and the evidence that's relied upon.
Okay, so now, council members, you have before you the motion to deny. Is that correct? Deny?
Correct.
Is there a motion, first of all, we got to get the motion here, to deny? In a second.
I'll move.
Okay, it's moved by Mayor Pro Tem Archibald. Is there a second?
Second.
And it's been seconded by Councilmember Payton. Any questions or anything to what we're doing? Everybody's
I think the
understanding?
discussion was, sorry, Mayor Ashford, discussion was reasoning behind that. And if we're pinpointing the 8 reasons, then I would substantiate that with concerns about traffic and the welfare of the neighborhood.
Okay, any more?
I do second what Mayor Pro Tem is saying about the traffic. I do manage a business downtown across the street from Jars. And I do notice with the traffic that people park in the street, they block traffic, they park on the sidewalk. We can't bring the products that we need into our businesses because of the patrons that are parking illegally. And that is a constant. So I am concerned about that for the neighborhood. Yeah, that is a big concern, in my opinion, that will change the dynamic and the ability for people that live in the area to park, and it will be congested.
Thank you.
I think
Councilman
that
Payton.
falls under number 1 and number 2, the distance from, you mentioned churches and other businesses, and that is located extremely close to residential. And to me, that would be a threat, a public threat, that they're that close. And this is a residential area with lots of children out playing. And that's why I mentioned the parking, just because I've seen it, and they have to happen in abundance. I don't think it's space-wise. It's too tight. It's extremely tight with the residents that live right next door.
Okay, everybody said.
Mayor Ashford, could we hear from the business owner? He's showed up to the meeting
sure,
and requested
yeah.
to speak, and I think it's only fair we give him an opportunity.
Sir, could you please state your name and your address for me, please? Thank you. And thanks to the council for allowing it.
Thank you very much. My name is Anderson Grandstaff. I'm a resident at 238 Summit Street in Ypsilanti, Michigan. I'm an attorney here representing the applicant, and I had previously delayed speaking because I wanted to make sure that the council had the opportunity to consult with the city attorney's office about this. I did want to say that I wanted to draw attention to, I guess, at least a few points. The first is that the proposed business that's going to be put in here is going to generate not only jobs and excise tax revenue for the city, which we believe is a very worthwhile contribution, but I do think that before the second vote is taken, that the council should be aware that the applicant has made substantial efforts to address the concerns that were raised not only at the SLU permit hearing, but also previously here. We have a person who's here who is in charge of some of the landscaping and layouts. I would ask them, with your indulgence, to let him speak as to the efforts that we've been working on to install a landscaping wall on the eastern side of the property, which would address perhaps some of the concerns raised by local residents. And also that we have resubmitted a new plan that calls for installations of certain traffic signs that are designed to decrease traffic congestion here. I think that's both salient and important for the council to consider. I will say that we don't foresee there being off-street parking in this. There's going to be 39 parking spots set up, and we don't foresee that being an issue. And if I could ask the council, I have a colleague here, John Guma, who's qualified to speak about some of the plans that we've made and the changes to the landscaping and to the proposed signage.
I think I will permit that. I mean, it's going to help us, you know, make our decision. We need to. Here we can.
I'll yield the floor to John Guma then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Guma. My address is 7419 Millbelt Road, West Bloomfield. My firm is responsible for providing these drawings. As far as the traffic, I don't know if you've seen the latest drawings, but you can enter the property off of Davison, but you cannot exit and make a right. It's a left turn only, so the traffic will not spill into the residential side. We have that vacant land that is adjacent to the neighbor. That is just employee parking where they're not, your customers are not coming in and out. So that gets minimal usage. We provided lots of landscape screening. We are not proposing any additional exterior lighting, so it's not a nuisance to the neighbors. We also have ample parking where we're not planning on using any off-street parking on either side of the street. We have plenty of parking, and the hours will be restricted per the city ordinance. These places really do not get that much traffic of in and out. I don't know what you've seen at JARS, but that is more of a downtown area. This one is not going to be as busy as JARS. Plus, we have a lot more parking. We've done a lot of these sites all across Michigan, and they are pretty successful. We take a lot of time in designing these with the consideration of the neighbors and consideration of the cities and townships, so that everybody can get along. This was a bank before, so it's probably just as much, if not maybe a little bit more foot traffic or traffic at all. The bank was pretty busy. It's been vacant for X amount of years, so you probably got used to the quiet setting there. So that's all I really wanted to say. We have not a lot of lighting to bring that attention to this property.
Mayor Ashford,
Yes, Councilman.
you mentioned the parking.
Yes.
Now, would that require us to rezone that area for your employees to park there?
No, it's zoned properly.
There's an area that is on our
Have you
end
seen
of
this,
the agenda.
I'm sorry?
There's a space, which is on our ordinance tonight, that we need to rezone an area.
Yeah, I just did that for more of a screening, so we were not a nuisance to the neighbor. It's only adding 4 cars parking, 1, 2, 3, 4
Is there a
cars
fence
parallel.
there?
That's all it is.
What's the distance, though, between that parking spot and the neighbor next to it?
I can't see that dimension, but it's screened by landscaping. Existing fence to remain. She's asking for that dimension. I can't see that. 7?
Looks like an 8 feet.
Approximately 8 feet?
Between where you park and the location of the fence?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And it's heavily screened with landscaping. It's employee parking anyway, so it's not in and out traffic all day long. It's
But we
shift.
would have to rezone that area.
I believe that the current property that you might be referring to is already a paved lot, and it has, I'm told it was accidentally rezoned as R1?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, all set, Councilman.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes, Council.
Could you speak?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Could you speak to the lighting? You talked about no more exterior lighting than what you have, but talk about the lighting in the parking lot as well as on the building, and will there be lights in the windows and all of that kind of thing all the time?
So there is no proposed additional exterior lighting. We're not anticipating on adding any exterior wall packs or anything like that additional to what's already there now. We may change the light fixture because it's a dated fixture currently right now, and it'll be a up and a down light. It won't shed out. It's just more for pathway lighting. Is that what you're asking me?
For the parking lot, yes, and what about the building itself?
Yeah, that is the building. That would be the building lighting. It would be surface-mounted light fixtures that shine up the building and down the building, not out.
So you're not proposing, for lack of a better word, rope lighting on all the windows and all of that kind of thing?
Absolutely not. No.
Oh, thank you.
Good thing you came up. Okay, all minds clear, or I'm going to call for the question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, very much. The more information you have, the better decisions you can make, more intelligent.
Mayor Ashford, to be clear though, since the first motion failed and now we're proposing a motion to deny, essentially.
Yeah, just see where we are, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe somebody changed, yeah, I don't know. Okay. So is there a motion to deny?
We already have it.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
It's on the table, okay.
You want me to
So now we
do the
just
vote?
call the vote, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Councilmember Lamb? This is to deny.
No.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
No.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
No.
Mayor Ashford?
No.
Madam Mayor.
Motion, oh,
Okay, so,
Mr. Francis, is this also considered a failed motion?
Yes, I mean, I guess the issue with the ordinance is that this is merely a recommendation from planning to this body, right? So a decision has to be made, and apparently we aren't going to have one tonight. Maybe this, and I can speak with counsel for the applicant, this is something that needs to be brought before the body again, that when we have a full council.
Mayor Ashford,
so it-
could I,
if it failed.
just a minute, okay. Mayor Pro Tem?
could I ask a question of, is it possible to put together a meeting with the residents and the owners and what they're proposing so they could have more information and a better look? It may have been done, but I'm not aware of it. So, and a lot has changed. Could we do something before it comes back to us that all of us could sit down and have greater detail of what exactly is being proposed, what it would look like, and then maybe the residents would have a better feel for, knowing it's probably going to come back and be forced on us anyway, at least we can make an attempt to let them have some input?
Mayor Ashford?
Yes.
I would recommend that the council makes a motion to postpone this until the next council meeting and to direct the city manager to hold such a roundtable.
Oh, okay. Have you heard our city manager here?
I would pass that motion.
Recommend, okay, it's been
Second that.
moved and second.
Second?
Second by Councilmember Lamb. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor, to the residents here tonight, I will schedule a meeting for sometime, we have the holiday coming up, but sometime in the first week in December in 408 with our city attorney and the representatives from the group and our planning department to answer any questions. So you can meet with them, hear from them, and if that changes the decision of the council. So we will give it one last run.
Okay.
And we will try to do that as soon as possible so that we don't hold them up
Yes.
any longer.
Yes.
Thank you.
Call the vote, please.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to step out just to meet with the applicant's counsel.
Sure, okay. All right, thank you, and thank you for your input tonight. Okay. Now we will continue our agenda from the city manager.
Accepting the bid from LaFontaine CDJR in the amount of $83,670 for two 2024 Chrysler vehicles for use by the police department in accordance with the State of Michigan My Deal purchasing program.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Councilmember Pemberton moved and second by Councilmember Lamb. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor and Council, these were budgeted items.
Oh, this is budgeted?
Yes.
Okay, no problem. Okay, any more discussion? Okay. Call the vote, please.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Moving on, Resolution 3.
2.
2.
Accepting the bid from LaFontaine CDJR in the amount of $133,840 for the purchase of 3 2024 Dodge Durango Pursuit all-wheel drive vehicles for use by the police department in accordance with the State of Michigan My Deal Purchasing Program.
Okay, move. Motion to move.
So moved.
Councilmember Lamb moved, second by
Support.
Councilmember Pemberton. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Ashford and Council, we're moving away from the Ford Explorer platform to the Dodge Durango. So is Michigan State Police and a lot of other agencies across the state of Michigan. It's because the Ford Explorer utility vehicles have just gotten so wildly expensive. They're almost, I believe the Tahoe's cheaper than the Explorer right now. And so we'll be going with the Durango. 2 of these vehicles will replace the current wear and tear of our vehicles. The third one is to replace a vehicle that was totaled out in an accident recently. Covered by the budget items for 2 of them, insurance for the third one.
Okay, so this is budgeted and
Yes.
taken out on more motor vehicle fund? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, call the vote, please.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Now 3.
Accepting the quote from Hydro Optimization and Automation in the amount of $63,674 for the installation of PLC equipment and software upgrades at the water filtration plant.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Archibald and supported by Councilmember Lamb. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor and Council, you actually approved a similar contract several months ago. The low bid, the single source and only bid, quickly shown that they were not capable of completing the project. So we paid them out for the work completed, then went back to our professional engineers for recommendations. We were able to solicit a company who has a track record to get the job done. So hopefully it'll take them about 3 weeks to get it done.
We shouldn't take too long to process.
No, I just want folks to know when a contractor's not doing a good job, we fire them
Take
and
action.
find something better.
That's what the people want. And that is taken out of the water fund, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Call the vote.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. From the city manager 4.
Approving the 5-year service agreement with Otis Elevator Company in the estimated annual amount of $19,980.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem moved and supported by Councilmember Pemberton. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor and Council, this is routine housekeeping. We have to have the elevators working.
Oh, okay. And this is on an annual basis?
Yes.
Is it always the same price?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, great, okay.
And there's only 2 real people that do it, Michigan Elevators and Otis. Otis has installed our system and they know our system, so to go outside would actually require more man hours to repair it.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Roll call.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. From the city manager 5.
Accepting the proposal from Johnson Controls in the amount of $28,575 to perform preventative maintenance to the air handling system and cooling systems at the MOC, Palmer Park, and DPW Streets Warehouse for a period of 1 year with year 2 as optional.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Lamb, second by?
Support.
Oh, okay. Okay, supported by Councilmember Pemberton. Okay, is there any discussion?
Yeah, just again, routine housekeeping, this annual contracts for maintenance.
Oh, okay, so just run it. Okay.
Continue what we've always done.
Great, okay. Roll call?
Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. From the city manager, number 6.
Accepting the quote from Axon Enterprises Incorporated in the amount of $1,656,488.44 for the purchase of in-car and body-worn cameras in accordance with the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program and approving a 10-year service agreement to maintain the cameras.
Is there a motion to move?
So moved. Support.
Mayor Pro Tem moved and second by Councilmember Pemberton. Thank you. Discussion?
Yeah.
You got this, Steph?
Yeah, Madam Mayor and Council, I sent you a report a couple days ago, last week.
Excuse me.
We had a body camera fail, and we take that very seriously when a body camera doesn't operate. So we actually sent several of our body cameras in to be reviewed and a diagnostic report to be done forensically on the device itself. Look at the device, find out what is going on with the device. What was in the company's called G-Tech, the manufacturers of this body camera. What they sent us back was wholeheartedly unacceptable. They said, well, it's a software issue. The body camera freezes, very similar to when your phone freezes or your computer freezes, and then it must require a reboot to fix. Well, you wouldn't know that at the time because the activation light is still green. So it looks like it's activated, but it's not. More alarming is that G-Tech told us that they are aware of this issue and they have no ETA on a repair for this issue. That is just unacceptable. We can't operate a police department in which we're not sure if our body cameras are going to work. Just wholeheartedly unacceptable. We have been working for the last several months with a company called Axiom to deploy a whole suite of 62 new body cameras. And the reason why we went with 62 is we want every single officer, every single detective to have them. And yes, they could share, but on big nights like Blue Water Fest or something like that, they wouldn't all have them. And we want them to have those body cameras. The officers want to have the body cameras that are working. Right now, we pay about $50,000 to $60,000 a year in cost for the body cameras and the software that goes with them. This is going to cost about $160,000 a year. So this is going to be an annual increase of about $120,000 a year. But it's something we have to do. We have to have body cameras that work. So the proposal you have tonight is a 10-year proposal with a company called Axiom. If you go online, if you see news reports or police reports of other police departments where they release body camera, in the corner you will actually see the word Axiom on the video. Axiom is the national leader in body camera technology and dash cam technology. In addition to the hardware, we will also be getting the software technology that comes with it, including evidence and records management and video redacting software. So when we respond to a domestic call and you wear a body camera into somebody's house and that body camera gets FOIA'd, we have to go through and literally redact everything in the video that's personal in nature. That requires a lot of technology, a lot of AI work, and a lot of man hours. So we do hope to see a reduction of man hours using their AI technology for redaction efforts. But the body cameras failed. They didn't fail just once. The diagnostic reports show they failed numerous times. And it's completely and hopefully unacceptable. And I apologize to the people that it has affected. So $1.6 million over the course of 10 years, the cost of $163,140 annually. We will make room in our budget to make this happen. So it is not a budget item, but I will make room in the budget to make it happen.
And James, is this something, does this happen to other?
No,
same
no, this is not an issue with Axiom.
Oh.
And so they brought their reps in, we toured their software, we toured their ecosystem. They are the national leaders for a reason. They're more expensive, but you get what you pay for. Now, if we purchase these tonight, we won't have the complete rollout done until probably August of next year, but it gets the process rolling.
Mayor Ashford?
Oh, yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
James, is there a way to tell the difference between if it malfunctions or someone shuts it off?
Yes.
There is, so we can check that, so we would know.
And it was checked.
And then there are consequences if you turn them off or fail to turn them on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
One of the things I might as well, I want to thank Chief Kerrigan and Captain Young, they took this matter seriously. They requested the forensic review of the diagnostics of the unit themselves. At the time, Captain Kerrigan, Assistant Chief Kerrigan, spent months and months figuring out what wrong, what we can do to fix it, meeting with Axiom, investigating what the other options are. Do they have this issue with their company? Calling around to other agencies to know their experience as well. That's what led to this proposal here tonight. When I was briefed on it, that's why I felt confident that we had to spend the money to make it right.
In the company we were using prior of the one that we had, they actually had multiple, they had other problems. The same
Yes, this is a
did.
quote, known issue they wrote back to us.
It is a known issue,
Yes.
okay, so that's why we need to move forward, okay?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, any more discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Number 7, from the city manager.
Accepting the proposal from Panchera LLC in the amount of $100,000 for the purchase and installation of pour-in-place safety surfacing material at Pine Grove Park.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, and second by Councilmember Lamb. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor, Council, you actually already approved the use of ARP funding for this. This is just formally allocating the county ARP funding for this cost. It's actually been already poured and installed when you approved it the last time, so
Right.
Pine Grove Park is open and the kids are loving it. I would encourage all the residents, it's probably one of the most dynamic parks we have in the city. It's looking like a giant bridge over the St. Clair River, so the whole pour and play, the color theme all goes along with it. So for folks who haven't been to Pine Grove Park, take the kids.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, anyone else? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. From the city manager, number 8.
Accepting the bid from Flash Parking Systems in the amount of $281,815 for the purchase and installation of 5 entry-exit parking gate systems for McMorran North and South parking lots.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support. Councilmember Pemberton moved and supported by Councilmember Lamb. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to give a little history on this. Back when I actually got here in 2014, we had already ordered new parking gates from a Canadian company. They were just absolutely terrible. Like, they're just junk. They broke all the time. I can't say enough terrible things about the parking gate company. I think actually if anyone in town who lived here during that time, they were trapped in those gates and got stuck in those gates and they didn't work. I personally got stuck in the gates. It was awful. Because they were a Canadian company, they were slow to respond if they ever did respond with repairs or parts, and so lesson learned, we don't buy things from a foreign country. With that said, we do need a way to regulate the parking at the McMorran lots because we allow for student parking with SC4, for event parking. Rob Churchill here has investigated this since about the day the gates were installed in 2014 to find what was the best model and the reasoning for going with this. With that said, I'd like to have Rob come up since he has done all the research on this. What's also important to note is the McMorran Commission has always also met on this with this large capital purchase. The reason why this is important is this revenue is baked into the cake of the McMorran budget for event parking and all of that.
Oh, okay.
And so we struggle to achieve that right now using booth attendance, but go ahead, Rob.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So we, like James said about parking box, we've had tons of issues with those, and we kind of shut those down when the COVID hit, and we really haven't brought them back. And we, at that time, we were in the probably right around 120,000 in revenue a year with the parking gates, with a ton of maintenance. Now we collect still on the north lot, but we're not collecting on the south lot except for special events here and there. And we're down to probably around $45,000 to $50,000 in revenue now. So it's a significant loss in revenue. I know it's kind of expensive to do this, but these gates too offer a much better system because it's all cloud-based versus going through the internet. And that's one of the issues we were having with the other gates. And the other thing that this also offers is we can do a pay on entry or pay on exit, depending on what type of event we have.
Oh, okay.
Madam Mayor, did you say something about the difference as far as manpower or the new system?
So with the old parking box gates, we probably were spending about 20 hours a week in manpower just repairing them. And we would, because it was a pay on exit system, for any big events that we had large crowds in the arena, we would then put someone in the booth to do a pay on entry because we just couldn't get them out fast enough if you were trying to get them to pay on the way out. So we still had manpower for every Prowler game, any concert, any things like that. We still had manpower plus the gates with the old system, which we would eliminate that with this system. I'm not saying eliminate it completely, because if there's a really large concert or something, we still may go that route, you know, but we can do a pay on entry because not everyone comes at the exact same time to get to the event, but when the event's over, everyone leaves at the same time.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes, Council, Mayor Pro Tem has.
Rob, can you, what is the install date? I should know this, but I don't remember.
We don't have an exact date. I'm looking at probably within 2 months, they will start installing them.
So I would ask that we do a massive media blast and reach to the residents, because I know the issues we had when the first gates went in, and it took us a while for people to get used to it. And they're gonna be surprised again when suddenly they show up and they're being charged, at least on the ones that aren't operating.
So one of the features that I planned on using with this new gate is that it'll be active, but it's gonna tell them that you can use this system, and your first 2 times are free. So you have an idea that it's working. Plus, with this system, you can do it with an app, you can do it with a text message, or you can pay right at the gate itself. So for someone that is a local business that's there every single day, they'll be able to buy a pass right on the app.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's convenient.
Thank you, Rob, for your hard work on this.
Rob, is this the equipment, is this an old gate system? Was it old? How old was it?
So all the equipment that's there now will be removed, and it'll be all new equipment.
And it'll all be, okay. Thank you. Okay, no more? Okay, call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Next, we have one ordinance, council members before you. If you read that ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 52 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 1 generally, Section 52-162 map of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances to rezone 900 vacant lot Division Street from an R1 zoning district to a C1 zoning district.
Okay, motion to move.
So moved.
Councilmember Pemberton, second by? Huron?
Yes.
Okay, Councilmember Huron, second. So it's been properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Mayor Ashford, is this the vacant lot that goes along with the dispensary?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Mayor and Council,
This floor is yours.
this property, original use was of the credit union. This vacant parcel is part of the parking that serviced the credit union. The credit union was on 4 different parcels that were never assembled into one. So the credit union had 4 different tax ID numbers. All of the other parcels are zone C1. This was the lone parcel that was still zoned R1, which wasn't really in alignment with the use in supporting the credit union. So the applicant, new applicant coming forward, has realized this is one piece that is not in alignment with the other parcels. They are going to assemble and have all the parcels into one tax ID, and in order for it to be kind of contiguous, the request is to rezone this to match the remaining balance of the property.
Madam Mayor.
Okay, Councilmember Pemberton.
David, regardless of it being the current applicant and related to the previously failed unfinished business there, is it your view that this parcel should be a C1, as that's its appropriate zoning?
We made that recommendation to the Planning Commission for that very reason, is that going forward, regardless of the applicant, the use in the parking is to support the available parking needed for the building itself, and has been
And
for
that's
years.
what it's always been used for. That was
Exactly.
part of the credit union wraparound, right?
Exactly.
So you're gonna have to do clean up anyway of that parcel. You're gonna have to do it
Yeah,
anyway
it's-
regardless.
Yeah, it's kind of a housekeeping item to have it all contiguous to a single use. It's paved, it's parked, it's meant to service the business that is the main parcel.
But it just prompt by this movement, so it
Exactly.
gave you the opportunity to make something right, okay.
Yeah, a little housekeeping.
Oh, yeah, okay. Any more?
David, I'm assuming that is not a buildable lot,
It,
or is it? I'm not seeing where it has
It
measurements.
is 55 by 132, so that would make it a buildable lot.
Yeah.
Whoever would acquire it for being a buildable, you would have to remove all the asphalt that is currently on the site.
That would require a site plan as well?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions? Inquiries?
I do have one question.
Okay.
The location of the asphalt, how close in proximity to the neighboring lot is that? Do you have any idea? I mean, you can give me a ballpark, I don't care. I know it's very close because I drove over there.
Still don't work. It appears that we do have a buffer between the asphalt paving and the property line to the neighbor to the east, which would be the residential. So there is a grass buffer there.
But it's not 8 feet.
Unfortunately, it isn't marked. I wouldn't want to guess.
Okay, thank you.
What that dimension is.
Mayor Ashford? To expand on that, then would that be something that could be required, that there is some type of a,
Some type of screening between the properties. Yes.
thank you.
Okay. Any more questions or anything? Okay, you may call the vote, please.
Councilmember Lamb?
No.
Councilmember Peyton?
No.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Okay. I believe that takes care of our agenda. And now we're moving into announcements right now. The first announcement we have here is the city offices will be closed November the 28th and 29th in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. And 2, the trash collection for Thursday's customers will be delayed until Friday. And number 3, I'm going to call Natasha, who is just filled with so much excitement and has done a very good job. I'll let her tell you what she's earned the right to say.
Good evening.
Good evening.
He's coming, guys. Santa is coming to town
Whoa.
this Friday,
Good.
November 29th at 6 o'clock. We are having our Spirit Santa Parade. Please join us. This year, we are actually reversing the parade and starting on the corner of Port and Military Street, right in front of Pompey's, and heading over to McMorran Plaza, where we're going to have our Christmas tree lit up. Santa will disembark in front of McMorran Plaza and do the ceremony right there at McMorran. And so for all the kids in there, please make sure that you're ending at McMorran and not necessarily, past that block. Also, before the parade, our sponsor, Spears Movie House, is hosting Cocoa and Cookies with Santa.
Whoa.
So that starts at 4 o'clock. If you'd like to see Santa in person before the parade, you can do that. Make sure you call. It is $5 a ticket. Outside of that, Santa has come to town in many ways. In fact, there was even a year that he came by helicopter. So since this is my last Santa parade here in the city of Port Huron as an organizer, I wanted to welcome Santa in a great fashion. And no, I do not have a helicopter for him, but we do have an amazing float that has been built. And in fact, if I could, I'd just like to thank a lot of my helpers that made this possible, starting by our very own council member, Terry Lamb. Thank you so much. Two of my best friends, Amy and Maddie. We have our great Parks Department with Kyle and Jason, as well as the Recreation Department, Emily, Brandon, and Jenny. Like, all of these guys have put a lot of work in this past couple weeks to build. You have to see it. Is actually, I think Santa's going to be very, very happy with it.
Oh, sounds good. I know she was excited, and we need that kind of release, stress-free, just getting out there. You know, the parades we used, we all look forward to watching. Just give you a moment of pause to appreciate what we have. Going into Thanksgiving, you're grateful and you're thankful, and this is some of the evidence of what we can offer. So thank you so much for doing such a great job.
You're welcome. It's one of my favorites. I'm very happy to do it.
Thank you so much. Well, let's give her a round of applause, because that is it. Thank you so much. And with that, before we get out of here, I would just like give a shout out here to some people, been busy over, what have you been, first of all, I'd like to, the young lady got up and she said that I cut someone off or something like that, and like I ran on transparency. I am integrity, transparent, it's just my DNA. But it's one thing about whoever sits in this job, whether it's Pauline, whether it's me, whether it's somebody else, but you have the responsibility to, it's like Mr. Tyler, you said, the decorum. So you don't cut anybody off. That's why I said, excuse me. You said, excuse me. And if I took any more of his time, I would have gave it back to him, because I have that right. I can do that. But when you're in here, we want to have a council member that our kids could come in here and feel like they belong, and they can hear with all the other stuff. And not that this person was doing that. It's just that you come to the city council, you're talking to us. You can talk to Jane Freed anytime. His phone is open. He ain't the thing up here now. It's the council that has to be here and make sure we're in service to you. So, no, I would never do that. I know about the First Amendment. I respect that. I respect all the laws. And better yet, I respect you all. So I just wanted to say that. But over the weekend, we had 3 things going on where we represented my fellow council members and the city of Port Huron. We were out at New Life North Ambassador Church for Christ, and a church from Hamtramck had joined in with them to give away free turkeys and I guess it was Walmart's, and I want to say Targets, but they gave away free clothes and everything to people in Port Huron. Even though that was in the township, we had Port Huron people out there getting food and all of this. But I want to emphasize on that, because we still got people out there that are hungry and they need help. And this is a time of year that we need to come together and try to do a little bit more than we did. If you find someone in that kind of position, try to, give a little. And then next, we were at, where were we at? Okay. I was at a birthday party, but it was at a church, but they were jamming. It was gospel music, but it was John Thomason. They call him the sax man. He turned 6 years old, and he does a lot for our community, and that's why I'm mentioning this. You call on him, he's always there. So we were over there. And then on yesterday, it was standing, I think some of the people are here today, standing room only, the community out at the Harvey Center. It was a praise program where all the ministers, some of them throughout the city of Port Huron, where they prayed over not just Anita Ashford, but me as mayor, but for us in holding this seat as a council, that we be strong and that we do what we say we're going to do, and representing you like we ought to be representing you. And it's about the people, and it is. And I had enough prayer to last me until I'm 100. I thought they had me like I was gonna walk on water. I said, okay. But it was, and I just love that. I love the beauty of it all. All people were represented, and I mean, the kids were there. And you know what, it's a whole lot of you out there that, you know, you care, you love your city, you love where you live, and you wanna help, you wanna be involved. And we don't always have to agree, but we can agree to disagree, and we can do what's best for what we all care about, and that is our city of Port Huron. So with that, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor Ashford, before you
Yeah.
do that,
Okay, okay.
one quick thing.
Sorry.
This is several meetings in a row now that I've gotten reports that the sound isn't working again. So, just in case you don't know, bringing that to your attention, this is, I think, the third one. So if we could, I thought they had it fixed, but apparently it's not working.
So, Mayor and Council, it's an issue with the YouTube server shutting down. And so we will be transforming platforms for how we do live broadcasts to Vimeo. We're working on getting our corporate account set up that allows us to do the live broadcast. I'm hoping the next meeting or the meeting after, in short order, we'll be broadcasting on a new platform, no longer YouTube, because we're just having too many issues on the YouTube side of dropping the server connection. With that said, we'll put a link onto our website, because it's a little bit different than going to YouTube and searching for it. You'll probably have to go to the website and click a direct link to make it easier for folks. So we're working on getting that fixed.
This is Comcast that's not working.
It's probably
Both.
so.
Okay. It's Comcast that was reported to me, so.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor Pro Tem. And also, you told me we're getting a new provider. Are we getting a new internet provider?
Yeah, that's it. No, new Vimeo. That's what
Oh,
we're
new
talking
Vimeo.
about. Yeah,
Okay,
Vimeo.
that's, okay.
Yep.
People want need to know that, because I got
Yep.
those same phone
Yep.
calls. So those out there, then we should be
And
good.
when we have audio, if the video is good on our end, we'll upload the full correct copy is first thing in the morning so people have it.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, and I just want everybody to know too, that I know one of our, Councilmember Lamb and I ran into each other. When people come to the podium, you want to be able to give them an answer. You say, well, what do they do? We just listen to it, they don't do anything. Several people have gotten up there, that's why we ask for your name and address, in case we have to get hold of you. We do give that to you. You know, you want to know, because some of it's on a personal business basis, and that's their business, but they're coming to us. But you always want to make sure that you're trying to make that connection, you know, that understanding, and we did, you know, talk to you. We did, you know, provide for you what you ask us to do. So we were trying to think of another way to probably do that, but I think that is the best way, because it is a city council, and we can't, you know, stretch it out, you know, long. And we heard the thing about that you somebody want to change the meeting back. I guess the council will take care, we'll take that under advisement to 7 o'clock. And then also, what else was there? I think that is about it. And then we will follow up on Mr. Gauthier, your thing. We'll put that in the right hands to get back with you on that, you know, because it's not just going to lay there. We're going to make sure that we pursue that and see what's there and get back with you, okay? So just want to make sure that. So we just, and one other thing, somebody did say something in the last meeting that they felt intimidated by, you know, coming up here. They don't want to come up here anymore. I want you to know you can come up here anytime you want. This is your council chambers, this is your council meeting. And when you come there, you're going to be respected. And you're going to make sure. So none of us should show that kind of thing, that we don't want you to come up here. If you got something on your mind, you let us know what it is. You let us know. Right, guys? All right. Right, guys? Y'all with me? All right. So we are, okay. So I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
And is there a second to that?
Second?
Second. Motion.